Pursuant to Section 84-1411 of the Nebraska statutes, the next regular meeting of the Board of Education of Douglas County School District 0001 and the Board of Educational Service Unit number 19 will be held on Monday, July 16th at 6:30 p.m. in the board meeting room of the Teacher Administrative Center, 3215 Cummings Street. The agenda will be kept current and available for public inspection in the office of the Secretary of the Board of Education at the Administrative Building during regular working hours. Pursuant to Section 84-1412 of the Nebraska statutes, the public is hereby informed that a current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted in the board meeting room on the north wall. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Vice President America will lead us in the OPS vision and mission statement.
All right. First is our vision, every student, every day prepared for success, and our mission. Omaha Public Schools prepares all students to excel in college, career, and life.
Roll call, please.
Cassidy.
Here.
Godding. Hallman.
Present.
America.
Present.
Perlman.
Here.
Ryan.
Present.
Scanlon. Smith.
Here.
Snow.
Here.
7 present.
Mrs. Godding and Mr. Scanlon could not make it to tonight's meeting due to prior work and family commitments. I will entertain a motion to excuse them from tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Holman, second by Vice President America. Roll call.
Cassidy.
Aye.
Hallman.
Aye.
America.
Aye.
Perlman.
Aye.
Ryan. Smith.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
7-9.
Thank you. Moving on to School Spotlight with Miss Monique Farmer.
Good evening, Board President Snow, members of the board, and a very warm welcome to our new superintendent, Dr. Cheryl Logan, at her first board meeting. We are pleased to present 6 recent high school graduates as tonight's OPS Proud Spotlight. In May, the Omaha ACE Mentor Program affiliate presented 6 $4,000 scholarships to the following students: Josh Lorenzen of Omaha Burke, Hope White, Omaha Career Center and Omaha Burke, Rihanna Gunter, Omaha North, Jenna Raynard, Omaha North, Lewis Koo, Omaha Northwest, and Brandon Vale of Omaha South. The Omaha ACE Scholarship Committee received a total of 15 applications for the scholarships, an increase up 50% from last year. Criteria included overall need, technical content of the application, and completeness of essays, honors, academic, and involvement in extracurricular activities, community service, and participation in the ACE program. We congratulate each of these students this evening, and at this time, I would welcome Carlos Cozart to the podium, Vice Chair of ACE, to give brief remarks.
Thank you, Monique. Good evening, Board President Snow and Superintendent Logan. Tonight is not about me, it's about the students that participate in the Omaha ACE affiliate. And ACE is an acronym for Architecture, Construction, Engineering Mentor Program, so it's known as ACE. It is a nationwide program, it is a free program, and the bottom line, the goal is to provide exposure to high school and middle school age students to opportunities that exist within the ACE industry. It is a free program, and as you've just recently heard, the Omaha affiliate recently awarded scholarships to 6 outstanding students all this year, all of which were within the OPS school district. The Omaha ACE affiliate is within its 2nd year of existence. So I would say that they're doing an outstanding job on making impacts on the lives of young people. So at this time, if unless you have
could we have
questions,
the
if the rest of the students come up.
Please. Thank you guys so much. I attended the award ceremony
Correct.
in May and had the wonderful opportunity to take pictures with all the students that are here tonight. A couple of them didn't remember me, but it's okay. All right, so just could you guys explain the program and your projects that you guys did, and just the whole process and how you can introduce yourself as well with it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Hope White from Omaha Career Center, Omaha Burke, and the ACE program we did at Omaha Career Center, and we created a restaurant. It was all the layout. You had to find the location, you had to figure out how much it's going to cost, you had to figure out what you're going to put in the restaurant, and what the restaurant was going to be for the community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rihanna Gunter, and I attended Omaha North. And we participated in the ACE program in our class. So this year it was engineering, design, and development that we did for the class. And then last year I was in civil engineering and architecture, and that's how I started the program. But our class, we decided to renovate our restaurant, and we did everything from the interior, the exterior, HVAC, everything.
Wow.
My name is Josh Lorenzen from Omaha Burke, and I will go to, so what we did was In-N-Out, and the main thing that we tried to focus on was the lighting and the plumbing and the exterior design, what kind of walls and stuff we should use based on like where we are and what would help the most with where we live in our climate.
My name is Jenna Rennard, and I go to Omaha North. Well, I graduated from North, but I worked with my group to create a restaurant, specifically a Korean barbecue on 19th and Cummings Street. And my role in this project was I created a new parking space to make the parking lot more fluid in a restaurant. And I actually worked with Doug Walters, who is from E&A Consulting Group. And that was really fun because I got to make a connection with a professional.
Hello, my name is Louis Koo from Northwest, and for our project we decided to switch it up and actually have our restaurant be next to a lake, and we thought this would be like a really unique opportunity for us because normally we don't really get this opportunity, and with our small class of 6 we decided to split up into 3 work on architecture and the other 3 work on engineering, and I was part of the architecture team, and everybody was so involved, and I really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was great.
Good afternoon, my name is Brandon Valle. I graduated from Omaha South. So in my team, we were just a small group. We started a big group, but went to a small group. We picked IV, which is located in, I think, Q Street and 36. And at first we wanted to split it up. So half of the restaurant would be a restaurant, and the other half would have been like, what was it? A like sports area. And it was good and all. Even though we had to make the exterior, we had to make a lot of changes using a pre-existing building. So that's all.
Real quick, Brandon, how long did it take you to do your whole project?
It took us a while because we had various different ideas of how it's going to look from the inside. Even when we started from making the whole place look like a restaurant, and I said, it's too much space. We got to cut save some space. And then I said, all right, that was all.
Thank you. Colleagues, any comments or questions from the board? Vice President America?
Well, first, congratulations to all of you on your scholarships. I would love if you could share with us, now that you graduated, what your next steps are. Where you're planning on going to school, if you already know what you're planning to study.
Well, I actually have to finish my senior year in high school this upcoming year, and then I plan on going to Lincoln to study architecture.
Nice.
I graduated from Omaha North, and so in the fall I'll be studying pre-architecture so I can move on to the program to study architecture.
What college?
Sorry, at UNL.
Awesome.
I'm going to Nebraska Lincoln, and I'm studying construction management.
I'm going to UNO, and I'll be in the PKI Institute, where I'll be studying architectural engineering, and I'm also working on a double major with music performance.
Wow. There we go. Busy.
This fall, I plan on going to UNL to study architecture.
This fall, I'm going to be attending UNO for pre-architecture engineering.
Dr. Logan?
I just want to congratulate all of you, and I really want to thank the student who brought his whole cheering section. I think that was very cool. He brought all of his mates with him. We always think about the future, and if we're in good hands, and we can see we're in great hands. We have 6 future architects or engineers, and it's very uplifting. So thank you for your work, and you have a lot of work ahead, and this is just beginning for you. And thank you to your parents and family members for coming out to support you today. You've done very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Real quick, all the family and friends that came attended to tonight's meeting, could you guys please stand? I know these students couldn't get here today without you, so thank you guys. We appreciate you. You make us OPS proud. If anybody else has any comments from the board? All right, guys, so if you guys would like to just walk around, and we would love to shake your hands and congratulate you and then take a picture that will be uploaded to our website. And also, for those that are trying to watch, we're not airing live, we're streaming.
Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take one more. 1, 2, 3. Yep, thank you.
moving on to Superintendent Report, and before Dr. Logan speaks, I, as Board President, and can't speak for my colleagues on the board, but I would like to say welcome to Omaha Public Schools. Dr. Logan has been superintendent for about almost 40 hours and is hitting the ground running. I tried to get a meeting this morning with her at 7 a.m. and she was already booked. So welcome, Dr. Logan. You have settled in well and the transition went smoothly. And I just want to say thank you for choosing OPS to help us move forward. Dr. Logan?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, President Snow, Vice President America, and Board of Education, and everyone here in the audience today, and especially the staff who is here this afternoon. Really appreciate you being here to support me this evening. I'd like to begin my remarks with recognizing someone that I promised I would recognize on this night, and this young lady was in line to meet me when I was interviewing. And she was in tears, saying that this day, she never thought this day would come. And I told her, now, if I get to be the superintendent, I'm going to make sure that you are here. So yesterday, I actually ran into her at services down the street, and I would like to recognize Gwen Brakefield, who is a paraprofessional at Howard Kennedy School. If she could stand, please. Now, the other thing that Gwen, my parents have long gone on to glory, and the other thing, and I don't have my mom, but Gwen was actually born in Arkansas. My mom was born and raised in Arkansas, really very close to each other. She's from Hope. My mother was from Crawfordsville, Arkansas. So that also was a wonderful connection for me, Gwen, and I'm so glad that you are here, Mrs. Brakefield. So thank you for that. During the budget cuts, working with Mr. Evans, we were able to streamline some offices and address some critical concerns for the purposes of reducing the budget for the 2018-2019 school year. And we, as a result of that, we did make a few changes to the organization chart. The first one that I'd like to talk about really is going to help us address a critical concern around prevention of school violence. And under the direction of Lisa Utterback, who was supporting schools as executive director for school support and working in family community engagement, we will expand the scope of her work, and she will lead student and community services. In addition to the divisions that it already contained, which were family and community engagement, she will now oversee the Office of Safety, guidance counselors, health services, student information services, social workers, parent engagement, which is an existing office, the multi-tiered system of supports for behavior, and mentoring. The goal of this is to recommit to breaking down communication barriers so that all adults and partner organizations who work with children have daily opportunities to share information about their well-being, especially as it relates to school safety and preventing school violence. In partnership with our local law enforcement and relationships with students, we know we can support our students better by focusing on threat assessment and taking proactive measures to keep them safe. Threat assessment is a structured group process used to evaluate the risk posed by a student or another person, typically as a response to an actual or perceived threat or concerning behavior. Threat assessment as a process was developed by the United States Secret Service in response to incidents of school violence, many of them nationally known. It is already routinely used in schools in Omaha. However, we need to redouble our efforts. Rather than individual department training, there will be opportunities for development for counselors, school safety staff, and social workers, as well as other key staff, to be trained side by side instead of being trained individually. This division will also continue focus on supporting schools to improve student attendance. This year, work was already underway prior to my tenure to increase the focus on attendance, because we all know that students being present is key to improving our students' academic performance. The focus, however, will shift from school attendance, whole school attendance, to individual student attendance. Sometimes, if you look at school attendance, it can mask poor individual attention, and the individual students may not necessarily come to light. In addition to that change, the executive directors of school support will now be led under the direction of Melissa Colmine as the chief academic officer. The executive directors will continue their very important work of coaching, supervising, and evaluating principals. Indeed, their work is vital to moving the district forward. This new structure aligns the expectations of what students are expected to know and be able to do, which is the job of the curriculum folks, with the support of executive directors who work directly with school principals and their staffs to ensure that work is happening for our children. I will need to note that this actually reduces the number of executive directors from 6 to 5. In other news, during my first day, I visited South Omaha High School for the summer musical in partnership with a local theater, Once on This Island. It was terrific. And later this week, I will have the opportunity to see Bye Bye Birdie at Benson High, home of the Mighty Bunnies, and looking forward to that. Lastly, we have the student at Northwest High School, Trinity Lewis from Northwest, has been named one of the 2018 People to People Award honorees by the Confucius Institute. Every year, the Confucius Institute recognizes 10 outstanding students from the United States in terms of a network for their inspiring engagement with Chinese language and culture. Honorees are selected through a nationwide essay. This year's winners were selected from the most competitive pool of applicants in the contest history. These 10 stellar students from around the country will travel to Washington, D.C. to a gala in September of 2018. Northwest's Chinese program is provided in partnership with the Confucius Institute at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. 3 of the 5 Mandarin teachers are part of this program, and it is growing in popularity. This partnership is providing many opportunities for our students and is exciting to see one of our own scholars recognized. Kudos also just to Northwest High School for setting the conditions for these students to be so successful, Ms. Kong and Mr. Seberg, and the World Language Program at Northwest for doing great things for students. As a former foreign language teacher, I couldn't resist to highlight this stellar achievement for our students and staff. Mr. President, this ends my board report.
Thank you, Dr. Logan, and again, welcome. Board members, Mr. Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Just briefly, welcome, Dr. Logan. And one thing I wanted to say on behalf of the board, if I could, I really wanted to thank your former colleagues and Superintendent William Height in Philadelphia, because they were extremely gracious in allowing you to work 2 jobs at once, and it's really been helpful to have you here over the last few months. And I know it's been a lot of work, but hitting the ground running is incredibly important, and I just wanted to point that out and thank your colleagues in Philadelphia for allowing you to be able to hit the ground running like you have.
Thank you for saying that, and I am remiss at not acknowledging my former superintendent because I know he's watching. Hi, Dr. Height. Thank you to William R. Height, Jr., who is the superintendent in Philadelphia and was also my superintendent in Prince George's County, Maryland. He recruited me to follow him to that district, and they were indeed very gracious in allowing me, although I did have to testify still at city council hearings. And I do really appreciate that. And hi to everybody in Philadelphia and to my family in Maryland. Hi. And yes, I do look a lot like Mom. I've been seeing my picture all day. So thank you so much, Mr. Perlman, and to the entire Board of Education. Very much appreciated.
Dr. Holman.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to quickly recognize all of our summer graduates. This past week, I was fortunate enough to speak again at Omaha Northwest summer graduation. Very proud of those students and all the rest of the students that were able to receive their diploma this past week. So congratulations.
Mr. Smith.
I'd like to echo that. I was able to speak at Benton High School graduation. It was phenomenal to see all the families come out and support those students. It's really showed their dedication to their education, and I'm very, very proud of those students who finished up this summer.
Thank you. Seeing no more comments from board members, we'll move on to our next item, which is public comment. The next item on our agenda is public comment. We have 5 speakers who have submitted request to speak forms. The board has adopted policy 8346, which provides public comment for a period of 1 hour. That same policy limits individual speakers to a maximum of 5 minutes. We ask that you respect that time limit. Mr. Ray will let you know when you have 1 minute remaining and when you have 30 seconds remaining. If you are in need of an interpreter, please let Mr. Ray know and one will be provided for you. If the subject of your public comment is related to a particular student or staff member, We ask that you not mention the student or staff member by name and instead provide that information to Mr. Ray. He will assist us in looking into those types of details for you. If you do not get an opportunity to speak and would like to submit any written commentary, please provide it to Mr. Ray. He will make sure each member of the board gets a copy. As a reminder, we ask that you please spell your name and state your address before you begin your public comment. It is now 6:54. Our first speaker is Mary McKell.
Good evening. My name is Mary P. McHale, MC, capital H-A-L-E, and I live at 5009 Izzard Street, Omaha, Nebraska. I want to thank the OPS school board members, Dr. Logan, even though it's just been 40 hours, all OPS teachers and staff for all you do for the OPS students. I'm here tonight in support of Jacobs to have them continue managing and providing support for the 2018 Phase 2 bond issue. I have been a member of the OPS Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, CBOC, since the beginning of the Phase 1 bond issue. During this entire process, Mark Summers and the Jacob team have been excellent and very client-focused. When the meetings first began, Jacobs ensured that all CBOC members were heard, answered all the questions from the members, changed the format of the report, and also changed didn't change the information, but the reporting of the information so that it made more sense. They worked well with the district, they've worked well with the CBOC members, and everyone to assure that every activity, every bid, every proposal, every design, any program change that involved the spending of these funds was accounted for in the correct category. A number of times CBOC members would ask for a different report, a different format, and Jacobs made it happen. Jacob asked those clarifying questions after any changes to ensure that all CBOC members were satisfied with the results. They've provided all the 2014 bond issue information to the district so that anyone can go on the website and look and see for themselves and see how OPS is spending this money. I absolutely understand the need to reevaluate because we have many new board members since the 2014 bond issue, and it just makes good business sense to do that. But I urge the OPS board to continue the services of Jacobs as they have established great relationships with the district, great relationship with the CBOC members, and have always ensured that the 2014 bond issue is fully transparent, not only to OPS families, but also to the entire city of Omaha. There'd be no learning curve with Jacobs, so they could paraphrase and use Mr. Perlman's words, they could hit the ground running and keep doing their same partnership with OPS staff and CBOC members. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ernie Boykin.
Thank you.
Real quick, Ms. Boykin, are you still on the board for Omaha Schools Foundation?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Just
I'm on
wondering.
the board at Phoenix Academy.
Phoenix Academy Board, correct.
Okay. Don't start the clock yet. Ernie Boykin, in the 9200 block of Crown Point Avenue, Omaha, Nebraska. Welcome to the superintendent, to one of the best districts in Omaha. To the board members, I'm here this evening asking that you consider looking at the principal selection process. 3 years ago, I was involved in the principal selection at one of the elementary schools. There were 2 candidates. One was a gentleman from Elkhorn who had never had any experience with diverse populations, and the other candidate was one that the teachers felt they had to take because they were only presented with 2 candidates. Today, I was in another process because I do volunteer at 2 elementary schools, one for 19 years this coming school year and the other one for 6. And the process hasn't changed. The candidate gave their presentation, talked too fast, had slides, but they weren't there long enough for us to read what it said. And then we were they were presented with 12 questions, pre-submitted, but those answers generated other questions, but we were not allowed to ask the candidate any questions. You know, when you go for a job interview, they ask you questions, you answer, there's an exchange. And some of the comments that were made generated questions that we had and concerns that we had for that candidate. The candidate said that she was a data-driven administrator. There are a lot of things that data does not show. Some of our schools have to accept students in January and get them ready for testing a month or two later. So we don't have enough time to work with those students so that they can be successful in testing, which impacts the test scores of that grade level. So there are some things that we would like to see changed in the process so that we feel if we're going to accept this person who's going to lead our efforts at the school, we at least get to ask them some questions. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susie Anderson.
Good evening, Dr. Logan and board. My name is Suzanne Anderson. It's SUZANNEANDERSON. I live at 6560 North 33rd Street, Omaha, Nebraska 68112. I'm just here tonight to welcome Dr. Logan. We have several new members on the board, and welcome to you also for the new members here tonight. I am also the president of the SEIU Local 226, and we represent all support staff in 6 districts here in Omaha, especially OPS. We look forward to working with you, Dr. Logan, and as you told me at a meeting once, we're ready to be Loganated. So we look very much forward to you. Congratulations.
Our next speaker is Reverend Portia Cabot.
Portia Cabot, PORTIACAVITT, 1819 North 115th Plaza, Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you, President Snow and members of the school board and Superintendent Dr. Cheryl Logan. Welcome again. I look forward to getting to know you and to spend time talking. I want to thank all of you for your work in the Omaha community. I wanted to make sure that you know I do know how to give praise when praise is due, and so I wanted to come on a positive note and commend Lisa Utterback of the Office of Community Engagement and Aaron Perry of the HR department for reaching out and letting me know that the volunteer application was online. I have shared that link with over 35 persons that work with me at Wakanda Elementary, Mountain View Elementary, and Nathan Hale Magnet Middle School. And so we are in the process of making sure that everyone completes that application, gets approved, and that we will be ready to start our programs of greeting, classroom volunteers, as well as the Ladies and Gents program by September. We want to make sure that the students and their teachers get an opportunity to get to know each other, and the teachers can identify those students that need some extra help that we would come in and share with them during the school hour, not taking them out of the classroom, but keeping them in and sitting next to them or helping them with their work. So again, thank you all for your committed service. I want to thank your support staff, because communication is paramount, and when you communicate changes that you've made with the community, we will work with you. We still will be visual in every way, but thank you so much for making sure that that information was shared in June so that we could be on board. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Cheryl Richardson.
Cheryl Richardson, CHERYL, RICHARDSON, 10316 Hilltop Road, Omaha, Nebraska, 68134. Good evening, Board President Snow and members of the board, and Dr. Logan. who has a very good first name, too. As a member of the CBOC Citizen Bond Oversight Committee, I have to ask why the Omaha Public School Board did not stay with the winning organization of Jacobs Project Management Services to oversee Phase 2 of the 2018 bond to build and improve schools in the Omaha Public School System. During Phase 1 of the bond 2014, Jacobs was committed to communication and were student-centered in design and student involvement. They kept construction on schedule, conducted open houses, and used money wisely, which allowed OPS to update and repair more things. Economic inclusion was remarkable, as they conducted classes and graduations and even assisted those companies in getting jobs in the construction area. The OPS School Board decision to not accept the recommendation of Jacobs has delayed the start of construction on schools to be built under Phase 2. This delay does not benefit the children of the Omaha Public Schools. They are working with a winner in Jacobs, so why not stay with the winner? Thank you.
Our next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda that is before us.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Perlman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any abstention? Roll call.
Hallman.
Aye.
America.
Aye.
Perlman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Cassidy.
Aye.
7-9.
Motion carries. Moving on to, if I'm correct, we have an action item on our agenda, J1A. Updating my, I will now entertain a motion to approve J1A.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mrs. Ryan. Miss Ryan. I was thinking about that. Any discussion? Mr. Perlman?
Just briefly, thank you, Mr. Snow. I will be voting no on this item, just for the reason that I think voting in favor doesn't do anything to discourage this sort of thing, and so I'll be voting no.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
America.
Aye.
Perlman.
No.
Ryan.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Cassidy.
Aye.
Hallman.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Moving on to information item, Dr. Logan, J2A, Superintendent 90-day entry plan. And members of the board, there is a copy at your table here for your review. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ray, this is uploaded online for the community if you would like to review the 90-day entry plan. One second, Dr. Logan. I think we are. Can we get you into the mic, please? I think he's getting you. There we go. Save the day. I remember Phil Donahue.
So I was fortunate to have time ahead of beginning my tenure yesterday. And during that time, I focused on the things that you see listed there: organizational culture, capacity, governance, and working with the Board of Education, student achievement, and reviewing that data and the climate data, finance and budget, participating in 3 budget workshops in person, and then participating on the phone and on several others or via Zoom meeting, and then community public relations. I'm very pleased to say that most of the things that you can read that are on the pre-entry plan right inside of the, I think it's on page 3 or so, I was able to accomplish. I was trying to get to all 90 schools, but that did not happen. I ran out of steam, especially towards the end when I had a lot of other things that I needed to do as well. And I'm looking forward to finishing up and seeing those schools as soon as the students return in August. Actually, we'll start when staff returns, and then Wilson Focus, which comes back in session on July 26th, will be there close to their start date for Wilson Focus. Although that's the school I've actually already visited, so it'll be a second visit there. In addition, one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was establishing my relationships with the Board of Education. I was able to have 2 one-on-ones with each board member, in addition to a board workshop that we had on Monday. The board workshop was facilitated by the Nebraska School Boards Association and Marcia Herring, who did a really nice job. And then from formerly of Council Bluffs, and now in charge of MOAC, Martha Bruckner, who's the former superintendent in Council Bluffs, and she's serving actually as my unofficial mentor. I'm really tickled to be working with her, and she has brought me a wealth of knowledge about the area and just a lot of good advice and wise counsel. So working with her as well. In terms of the internal team, I've met with the team several times. As you know, as I talked a little bit about earlier, a few things were shifted around, part of budget cuts and part of allowing us to focus on some things that key areas for the upcoming school year, things that just can't wait. When I think about student safety, they just can't wait until for anything. And so making sure that we are ready to, as Mr. Perlman said, hit the ground running. This is the 3rd time that's been referenced already in one evening. And moving ahead to the entry plan. The entry plan, I have 4 goal areas. The first goal is to establish a positive working relationship with the board through open communication, weekly updates, and to meet with the board president and vice president very regularly to move the district forward and to consider us a strategic leadership team rather than having a solid line in between us, but much more of a dotted line and open communication. And I'm looking forward to that, and I think the board is as well. In goal 2, establishing trust with stakeholder groups, I've met with all of our collective bargaining groups. I have a second meeting with all of them in July. Looking forward to that, working with them. And then with teacher groups, have met with teachers not just as one large group, but in individual groups. Early childhood as a group, kindergarten through 4th grade as a group, middle schoolers as a group, and then high schoolers, because we all know that teachers have different needs depending on the level and different focus areas, so to allow for that. And many other stakeholder groups, philanthropy, with business and community leaders, with faith community leaders. All of that is helping me get a well-rounded picture. Met with our chief of police actually twice, and have another meeting with him later this month, especially as I talked about the threat assessment. We'll be working collaboratively with the police to assist us in those efforts. And reviewing the current curricular programs and student services programs. Again, some of that realignment will help with that as well. And then lastly, looking at the district's financial health, the portfolio of what we have in our financial portfolio and how that aligns with our strategic plan, things that we said we were going to do. Are we focusing our money and our resources on those, and making sure to include all staff members. Now, although my name is on this plan, I don't see it as it's not about me. This plan is about the children, the 53,000 children in this district, and the things that as adults we need to do to focus our efforts so that we can continue the great work and then refocus in areas or pivot as we need to in some some cases. One highlight from here also is starting next week on the 9th of July, I'll have weekly meetings for opening. I believe the best surprise is no surprise, and being prepared for schools to open very smoothly. On the first day, the news that I want to hear is that it was a great, smooth first day. We don't have any kindergartners who fell asleep on the bus and went for an extra ride, those kinds of things. Where's this Travis in here? He was in here earlier. He and I have been laughing about that. And that is some of the critical work. So I don't want to read it to you because it's you're all very smart, much smarter than me. And there's lots of stuff in there, but one of the things that we've been doing is to map out my schedule to make sure that I can meet all of these, and then in 100 days be prepared to give you a very comprehensive report to the Board of Education and then present that to the community at large. I will say that I am, the transparency that you see is actually for real. Even if you go past my office now, you'll see all the windows open, and that's just how I like to live my life, and it keeps you honest. And it keeps you accountable, and so I plan to continue to do that. I'm going to move on now to the, is it the other way?
J2B.
I'm going to move on now to the RFP. As you know, we are restarting the process with the request for proposal, and the new request for proposal for bond work will be released tomorrow from the OPS purchasing division. It has to be go in the daily record. And then in 2 weeks, we will have the deadline for the district's receipt. We had to add a day because of the holiday. And we will go on to scoring the documents with a team to include a representative from our board as a part of that committee, and with the goal, and we will meet this goal, of ready for selection on August the 16th. August the 6th at the August the 6th board meeting. And that's pretty much it. So thank you.
And for the community as well, Tracy Cassidy will be serving from the board.
Yes, Tracy. Yes, Ms. Cassidy has agreed to serve on the RFP committee and read those little short documents. So thank you. We're thrilled to have you.
Members of the board, if you guys have any comments or questions about the J2A or J2B from Dr. Logan. Mr. Pullman.
Just no questions, just a very brief comment. Just want to express my gratitude for what has taken place so far. The entry plan, again, has been great to see so far. A lot of listening and communication so far. Had a lot of honest talks about a lot of things already and gotten right to the hard work, and so I really appreciate that. So,
anyone else on the board? There is no receipt of reports, but I'm sure there are people here not to see me or anybody on the board, but they're here to see you, Dr. Logan, for your first board meeting. All right, so
I feel really weird saying this at 7:17, but I move that the Board of Education go into closed session for the protection of the public interest and for the prevention of needless injury to the reputation of individual to discuss with the superintendent, secretary to the board, and legal counsel pending litigation.
we have a motion by Vice President America. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Ryan. She said second before she can push the button. Roll call.
Perlman.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Cassidy.
Aye.
Hallman.
Aye.
America.
Aye.
7 aye.
Let me remind the board that the purpose for closed session is for the protection of the public interest and for the prevention of needless injury to the reputation of individuals, to discuss with the superintendent, secretary to the board, and legal counsel pending litigation. Let the record reflect that the board went into closed session at 7:18.